Hi there, Jan here. Part 2 of the little gardening yearbook that I'm doing for my friend. Today I'm going to be doing March and April. We did January and February yesterday. So as you can see, I've already got my packs kind of prepared. So it's just a case of putting it all together and that. So let's put April aside and we will start with March. The colour for March gems is a light blue, and the flowers are tulips. So I've done that. I've made a little bouquet. Actually, I have some tulips, little tulip flowers, and I think I got these from Wild Orchid Crafts, and I put a little string bow around here, which I've put a dab of glue on to hold it there. So I thought that makes a nice little bouquet. The colours are kind of green and predominantly purple on this, so I thought that would really go with that. Not sure how the blue is going to go with it, but that's the colour apparently. Right, okay, so I've got everything prepared. Like I say, I don't really measure out much, so but I will tell you the sizes that I've done these. I'll just measure them while I'm here right now. So all of the backings are the same. As I said yesterday, some of the ones, half of them need a gusset on them so they can stick to the album. The other half don't. I mean, you wouldn't normally do a back like this. It's just that this cardstock is only ivory on one side, on the other side it's white, and I wanted it ivory both sides. But all of my backings are 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and the sheets that I've used to cover it are, you know, just 1/8 of an inch shorter than that. This one's just slightly less than that. It's going to give me really fine margin around the edge, but that's okay, I'm fine with that. Right, okay, now on this one I absolutely have to remember it's got a belly band. So what I plan to do is to fix the belly band to this piece of paper like that, and then stick it down so that you can't see these bits. Although, to be honest with you, you wouldn't see them anyway, even if I stuck it to this. Just don't think I've folded it that size. Let's have a look. No, I've folded it to fit around the paper. And you know what? That actually bothers me, the fact that that's not much shorter. So I'm just going to trim that a tiny, tiny little bit. I've got a really miniature, so cheap little cutter. I think it was from Hobbycraft, and it only goes up to 2.5 inches by 6 inches. But the thing is, if you want to cut something really small, you don't really want to get your big cutter out, this is wonderful. Just, it's very accurate as well. So I'm just going to line this up on here and maybe just cut off, you know, tiny bit, not even 1/8 of an inch, maybe even just a 1/16 or something, just because it just bothers me that it's not, you know, as much border around it. So I've put that in, and I'm just going to wiggle it around until I get it where I want it to be, which is about there. Hold it down tightly. And as you can see, this cuts perfectly, absolutely perfectly. I think it was about £2 or something. I mean, look at that tiny little strip. You know, the thing is, I'm not going to keep that. I know I say I keep everything, but I'm not going to keep that. But this is wonderful. Glad I bought it. Right, that should give me a slightly better fit with a little bit more margin around. Let me just double check. Yes, it does. Yeah, much better. Right, so now then, let me fix. Oh, the other thing I'm going to do is, because it's a belly band, I was just looking at those bits of tape thinking, why have I put those bits of tape there? The other thing is, because it's a belly band, it's going to need a stopper of some sort. So I've used one of the chipboard pieces that's like a label, and I have threaded some ribbon through, and I'm going to put that at the bottom and wrap the ribbon round. So that's why I've put those pieces of tape there. So that will hold it there like that and like that. And I debated for a while actually about whether or not this should stick flat to the backing, but I just don't think you'll be able to slip many things behind it. So I've put a little piece of dimensional tape behind it to just lift it away from the paper a bit. So okay, let's get the belly band on first. I'll probably do that with wet glue. Let's have a look. So that's about middle, isn't it? Like I say, I don't tend to measure things, just do it by eye. Oh, is this, oh no, okay, yeah, so probably about there. That looks about the middle. Let's turn that over. Remove the tape here. Remove the backing of the tape. Oh, stick that down and put the backing back. And the same there. I've actually put tape on this as well, which is handy. Let's put that up. And this is another piece of that recycled paper that I had. You know, I managed to prize some of it off of the other album that I started, and this one's come off okay as well. Use your heat gun to get it off. Right, that's the belly band, and this is going to be the strip that goes on it. I thought that would go really nice with the background. So let's get that stuck down. As I mentioned last time, I'm experimenting with this overhead rig thing that I made, and I'm hoping that everything is, you know, sort of in shot and that my head isn't. Don't really want to see the top of my head, do you? Right, so let's get this stuck on. This is just an offcut of the other paper that there was. So use up all the scraps first. Right, now that's quite pretty. Contrasts well. The thing about these designer papers is that, say, this green here is the same as this green here. They use all the same colour mixes in it, so you know for sure that it's going to go with each other. There's nothing that's going to clash. Even if the colours, you know, even if it doesn't seem exactly the same, there is a colour in here that goes exactly with your backing paper that you use from the set. Right, now then, I'm going to stick this on as well, because this needs to be wrapped round. So I think it needs to go right at the bottom. Let me just double check. Yeah. Well, if I wrap the ribbons round first, it will it'll go wherever it goes, won't it? So I think I measured it, that it's you know, I measured it by lining up that it has to go as close to the bottom as possible, because the cards have got to fit behind it. Right, so if I stick that down there, and this one I need to pull fairly tightly. You know, not extraordinarily tightly, but just fairly tightly so it fits, because it's got a sticker underneath the front as well, so it's going to be anchored at the front. Right, let's see what we get. Yeah, that's quite nice, and that goes right at the bottom. I thought it did actually. Okay, so let's remove the backing from this. Sort of line that up fairly centrally. So, and then when you put you know, your ATC cards and things like that in there, they won't go any further. Okay, now this can go on here, the backing. I've already put tape around the back so that when I come to assemble it, you know, I can just peel the backing off and stick the two pages together. So that's fine, there and there, that's brilliant. Right, let's get some of this backing paper off. If I do this top one up a bit, oops, I always do it like this because it's so much easier to line up. The other trick is to use a glue, and I would probably use this clear glue, which I tend to save for using thinner papers. But it is you put your tape down, then you run a bead of this along all of your tape where you've taken the backing paper off, and that allows you to have a bit of wiggle room. And that's an alternative to doing it sort of like this, where I just peel up a corner. And sometimes that's really, really useful. Let's just see if that lines up. I can't really see what I'm doing at the top. I think it does. Yep, that looks okay. Let's stick that down, that corner. Right, that's well anchored. Now I can fiddle about with all of the rest of it. Some days it really, really wants to stick well. I mean, it's only cheap tape from Hobbycraft. Because I know that, you know, if I think it's not going to stick, sorry about the dogs, if I think it's not going to stick, then I'll add the glue as well, so it's kind of not a big problem. It gets a double whammy. There, but this isn't going to hold any weight, so it's fine. Right, let's burnish that down. Burnish, burnish, burnish. You can do that with wet glue as well, that's fine. Just for speed's sake today I'm doing it with this, with the backing tape. Right, so we've got the belly band. Oops, put the stopper back on the glue. It's a bit stupid, given how quickly it dries out. There we go. Right, so this one here, I've already stamped on it March, so I don't think it needs anything on here to say that it's March as well. And on the back I've put plans instead of to-do list. It's the same sort of thing, you know, and I thought she could write what she wants to put on there, so that will go in there. Then this one, for a change, I like this. Spring is the sun shining on the rain and the rain falling on the sunshine, which is a piece from the actual book, The Secret Garden. And this is the first month of spring, so, you know, I thought I'd include that. And I've put these little stamps on the back here to show her that she can put a photograph on the back if she wants to. So that can go in there as well. That's ready. That leaves us with this one, and that is for this calendar, this March calendar. So let's get that done. That can just go in the middle. Oh great, the glue's not going to mess about. That makes a change, because I left the stopper out of it for a few moments there and I was a bit worried. But anyway, it's not going to mess about, so that's really good. Okie dokie. Make sure that's the right way up. Yep. And that's going to go roughly in the middle. Brilliant. And then all we need to do then is just look up, you know, what day these fall on. I'll do that before I give it to her when I'm putting the book together. Right, let's put that in there. So this can maybe tuck behind. Just a little something. Right, okay, I'm pleased with that. Now somewhere I've got to get these on, and I've also got to get these on, and also I want to, oh no, that's fine. I was going to put something else on there, but I don't think I will. So what about if I put those on there and then put some of these blue gems along? Maybe I'll put 4 blue gems in each corner as well. I think that will look quite pretty. Right, so first of all, let's get this stuck down, and this is not going to be an easy task. How will I do it? I think this glue will hold it. Pretty sure it will. I wonder if I should put some double-sided tape on it, just a little piece of double-sided tape just to hold the flowers in place. Let's give that a go. A little bit of double-sided tape, can't hurt, can it? Just needs a little tiny piece just to hold it there while the glue's setting. So it's quite flat on the back. That there, and peel the backing off of that. I mean, I haven't done it before, but it's worth a try, isn't it? I suppose you would hot glue it, but I'm a little bit worried about the fact that this is hot gluing onto this, and besides which I don't really want to get the hot glue gun out and fire it all up. But I know this this glue is pretty good actually. If I tuck these in first, these are those little, you know, the plant. Well, I'm going to use them as plant sticks. So I'll tuck those in first. That will hold that up out of the way. I will put the little gemstones in the corners. Tip a few out. That'll be plenty. And I've got my little pick tool. Right, here we go. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Put a lid on that. One. Ooh, doesn't want to let it go. It's so efficient, that pick tool. Wish I'd known about these before. Makes life so much easier. 2, and you can actually put pressure on your, you know, to hold the gemstone down till it sticks. In fact, it's so good it doesn't want to let it go. Brilliant. 3 and 4. Come on, let go. That's it. Okay, right, now let's have a go with this flower arrangement. I'm going to be really generous with the glue here. put it everywhere that's likely to come in contact with the backing. On here, put plenty on. Once it dries, you can't move it, but just take a while to dry, that's all. And let's place it like this to one side. I think that looks nice. Put a bit of pressure on it. Luckily these flowers are quite solid, so even pushing them down is not going to sort of ruin them or anything. Right, I think that's going to hold, and then later on I can just tweak the leaves so they sort of stand up a bit better. And now what about a few of these gems? Let's hope it's not overkill. Need to clean my tweezers. Disgraceful. But I use them for absolutely everything because my hands are so shaky, and I've got arthritis in my hands, so I can't manipulate my fingers very well. But let's see what some of these look like if I put them on. Come on, turn over, you devil. Stop trying to wind me up today. It's not nice. It's not kind. Maybe a few random ones? Or do you think it doesn't need it? Let's have a look. I don't know, it's quite pretty. Yeah, why not? Let's go for it. A little bit of glitz. So we'll have one out here, one here, and one here. It's good to do things in odd numbers. Apparently it's more pleasing to the eye. So I do tend to do things in odd numbers, she says, with 4 tulips as opposed to 3 or 5. Okay, so do as I say, don't do as I do. But yeah, apparently, so we're told, it's more pleasing to the eye to have odd numbers. There we go. They need time to stick. Let's have a quick tidy up. I think that looks quite nice actually. So that's March sorted. All I need to do now is put that aside to dry and get on with April. Hopefully you can start to whiz through these now. There we go. Do that up if I end up knocking them everywhere. Right, pop that back in the bag and leave it aside to dry. By the time I come to assemble it, it should be fine. Sorry, I think I just knocked the camera there. There we go. Right, that's March done. It can go with the collection. And like I say, I'll have a fiddle about with those leaves once this is properly dry. So that is March. Let's have a go at April. Right, this one's a bit more complicated, should take a bit more time. Must remember my little sticker that I put up there. I pulled a sticker off the off the pack and then didn't have anywhere to stick it. So I have to stuck it on there, but just remember it's there. And the other thing I've remembered this time is to do the magnets. If you remember last time, I didn't remember at all. Right, the flower for this month, April, is Daisy, which is fine because I've got loads of those that I've punched out, the little punch that I've got. And the gemstone is diamonds, and that's easy, that's lovely to accommodate on here. So what I've done with this one is I've made this, let's take that off for a minute. I've made this as a flap up, just to add a little bit of interest to it. So, and also because I had this piece of cardstock over from when I you know, cut these bits out. So I've attached this with magnets so it sticks there like that. I remembered to do it first this time. So they're done. Now all we have to do is kind of cover the sheets and everything. Now let's move all this stuff out of the way for a moment. Just push it to the side. Now, as I said before, I really like this on here where it says the Secret Garden Collection, and this is called Beautiful Blooms, this one. So I've left them on the top and I've stamped April on there, so we know what month we're talking about. And I think I've got all my backing sticky stuff on. Doesn't need it on the back of this because the sheet that's going to go up against it has already got the backing sticky on. So, oh, that's upside down. It needs to go that way. I wonder if that's upside down as well. No, it isn't. That's good. I had some brains while I was doing it this morning, not like yesterday. Right, so let's get this one stuck down first. She says. Yep, I've got the glue on the back, the sticky tape on the back. So, fairly simple back page. And of course, you know, she can just stick a photo on the back here if she wants to. It's quite, you know, it's nice, beautiful paper to look at, but yeah, stick a photo on the back. Let's take the tape off of this magnet. Take the backing off. There we go. Get this lined up. So yeah, these backing sheets on this side are the same size as the other, which was 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, I think. I did say it earlier. But there's another 1/2 inch here for the gusset. And then I simply scored down it. And I've cut these edges with some fancy scissors. Don't know if you've seen them. Let me get a pair out and show you. They're very cheap. They're actually sold in the kids section, just as craft scissors, but they work brilliantly. They're these, and they've got this fancy cut edge. And I think there's about 10 different types in a pack when I bought them, and they work brilliantly. Saves die cutting it all the time. So yeah, because normally when you put pages in an album, you would cover this piece. And then I thought, you know, why? Why not just make it decorative? In fact, I'll show you. This is a page from the one that I did that was black, which I ended up not liking because I don't like the way the paper's is too harsh for an older person. But I actually punched these borders from an inch wide piece of cardstock and used it as a decorative edging here, and this is a decorative edging here. So basically I would have stuck that into the album. I'll probably still use these, but just for a different purpose. An album for myself or something. But yeah, so you stick that along, and that's a hinge then. And it's decorative, so you don't need to, you know, go to all the effort of covering all of this with papers. And when you cut your paper, you just butt it up to, you know, butt it up to there. If you were really, you know, determined, you had a lot of time and all that, you could put them all along this side as well. But yeah, so when you turn the page over, I've put half a strip down the other side as decorative, so that it sort of matches that. But I didn't want to do all the punching again for these, so I just cut it with those fancy scissors. And that works just as well. Looks really nice, I think. We'll soon find out when we put the album together. Right, let's take this tape off. I keep saying tape, don't I? I mean tape backing. Although I suppose it's probably pretty obvious. Right, there we go. Has that been done as well? Yep, it has. And there, yep. Right, and the magnet has been captured under there somewhere. There it is. Just these magnets are a bit weak, so I'm hoping that they're going to hold strong enough under these 2 sheets of paper. I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm a bit dubious, but I mean, you know, they can't do any harm, I suppose. Probably on future pages I'll use 2 magnets. Right, now this piece here is going to go over the top, and at the moment it's fine. It's holding through 1 piece of paper fine. But don't forget, we've got paper to go under here and the bits that are going to go in. And look what I've done. Stupid me. I forgot this was a belly band one, and I've forgotten to stick it down. Okay, well, no big deal. What I'm going to do in that case is I'm going to mitre these corners here and here. I'm not going to worry about this one at the moment, and I'm going to, that one will be stuck actually to the paper. You can't see it because I've mitered the edges, and the belly band is actually long enough to wrap around the outside, and you won't see that anyway because it's going to be stuck to the back of a page, so I think I might just get away with that. And there was me thinking I was so clever doing the magnets. Shows you. Thinking ahead and planning ahead is really, really important. Right, so we're going to need some tape on this piece here, on the back, because it's going to stick underneath here. Let's put that on there. Underneath here. Can't see my acrylic block, so I will cut it. And you know what? I'm actually going to use some red line tape for the other piece. This is really expensive, this stuff. I find it very expensive, and I keep it for special things, and I'm going to use it for these hinges because the pages are heavy. But if you need a really strong sticking tape, this is the one to use. I promise you it will stick anything to anything. It's brilliant. But you can't tear it, you have to cut it. Right, now this one obviously is going to need to be stuck on the right side. So this one, sorry, this one is underneath, it's going to wrap around. It's this one with the mitered corners that's going to need to stick on the right side. So I'm going to put this tape on here. I think I'll put 2 pieces on. I think this is 1/8 of an inch, this one. But like I say, it's, you know, I keep it for special occasions, but, or for special need of something, but worth every penny. I was at a craft fair recently and a guy was selling them for, I think it was £2 for a big roll, and it was such a bargain. And I thought, oh, I'll collect that on the way back, and I totally forgot all about it. I must be stupid. Because the problem with it is that you buy what you think is a big roll, and inside there is a massive sort of core piece. I don't think it needs to be that big really, it just makes the roll look bigger. Right, so let's burnish this down, and in the meantime that will help to crease that card underneath, because that now does need doing with the bone folder. And same with this one. If you think there's a danger of cracking the card, you know, maybe if you've got sort of, if you've tried it and the card cracks when you burnish it, firstly, you know, try and fold it gently first and use your fingers. But if it's still a bit dubious, then spray it with a very fine mist of water, and it will fold very nicely without cracking. Okay, let's get this piece on first. Just line it up roughly in the middle. Hope you can see this. And that looks about the middle to me. Oh, it's close enough, it'll do. Stick it down. This again was another off cut. I don't even bother to trim it down. It was just an off cut, but it actually happens to be 1 5/8